to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you, Shirley Paul, candidate for the 46th District Council. She'll be with us for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. And as always, I have a very special guest for you, Shirley Paul. Welcome to the program.
Good evening, Lydia. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
It is great to have you here. We love women who are doing big things in the community.
Yes.
And you definitely are. Matter of fact, you're actually running
yes,
for something, 46th District Council. But before we get into all that, I always love starting off the show with my famous question. Who is? So, who is Shirley Paul?
Ooh, that's such a good one. Shirley Paul, born and raised here in Brooklyn, proud daughter of immigrants from Haiti. Mm-hmm. I am a proud product of New York City Public School. I actually grew up just a few minutes from where we're taping tonight. I'm a graduate of a historically black college. I went to Brooklyn College for grad school, and also I'm a practicing attorney here in the state of New York. I've done a little bit of everything, a lot of community service work. I've been blessed with the opportunity to work for a lot of great people. And I'm just excited to serve in another capacity now.
That is so amazing. And I love how you preface, parents of, you're a child of immigrants, as I am too, and they come here and they really have such high expectations.
Yes, they do.
They really, because they have, I think more so Haiti, especially since I've been exposed to the Haitian community for so many years. Excuse me, there's that added layer of the language barrier.
Yes.
So out of all the Caribbean islands, you come here, it's still mostly English with an accent.
Yeah.
But then Haitians have that extra layer. You guys
Yes.
have to actually learn a whole new language.
Yes.
And so it's just an extra added layer, and to see you do so well and excel. How does that make you feel, and how has your parents received that?
I'm sure they're pretty proud. They don't always,
They don't say it.
They don't.
We don't.
Not all the time, but I do see the pride in their eyes. And both my parents are huge supporters of my latest endeavor of running for New York City Council. But they are just amazing. And just like all other immigrants, I think they are one of the bravest people ever to leave everything a culture you're familiar with, people you're familiar with, and in our case, because they came from Haiti, a language they're familiar with. Sometimes immigrants come here and they had great titles, great roles where they were at home, and they come here to America just on faith, just looking out and hoping that they'll aspire, that their children will aspire, and they're often overlooked. So they've been a huge reason and why I've made the sacrifices that I have in dedicating my professional career pretty much to public service.
That is amazing. That's great to hear, and I'm happy you shared that story with us. So now you're running this next endeavor, as you called it, the next chapter.
Yes.
Of that. What are you looking forward to next with that?
Well, I am a woman of faith, so I am following God in this entire process. I am working hard alongside that. So I am looking to use my experiences rather to marry them. I've worked on the federal level, the state level, the city level. I want to marry those experiences with the love that I have for people from my community in particular, and to do something really great, using the legislative process, using the privilege that one is afforded when they can hold elected office.
Absolutely. And there's so much that goes with that.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy feat, even getting on the ticket.
I'm in the middle of that right now, so trust me.
Let's talk about that, because a lot of people just don't always know the process. And I think now there's a little more light on our local elected officials. Right. And I say that only because before social media and all that stuff, we heard names, but you rarely really got to really associate who these people are. Now you're able to pull up a website and a Twitter page or some type of social media and really connect. And that's how younger people connect, because that's the medium that people are on.
Right.
So I think it's important to not leave that out. but definitely it's just been
It's
so
something.
great trying to make that ticket. So let's kind of talk about that process.
Okay, so of course you make the decision to run. You have to raise some money to get your message out there, to be able to have really good staff to help you do that. So in addition to that, at this point in time, we are actually in the middle of the petition season. So if you're a registered Democrat or just a registered voter here at times, depending, but mainly Democrats, you'll notice people are coming to you on the street or knocking on your door and asking you to sign these long green sheets. And that gives them the opportunity to qualify for the ballot. So pursuant to state law, we have a specific number that we're required to meet. So I'm doing that right now. So tomorrow's the last day, the 19th, to collect signatures. And it's work. It's difficult. It's something I also have done for others to help them get on the ballot. But I think it reinforces for me, at least these past few weeks, knocking on doors as to why I'm doing this. When I meet voters and speak to them and hear their concerns and recognize how engaged they are, like you said, because of social media now, folks are more engaged. And also, I think the pandemic has opened people's eyes to see that government is so much bigger than just the federal election.
It's not just the president.
Right. So, all of the mandates we're adhering to are made by local legislators. So they're important to know who these people are and how they impact your daily lives.
For sure. And just making that ticket.
And God willing, we are going to make it. We have our number, but we also, just a little tidbit. So the ballot process is so important because not only do you get to qualify on it by getting your signatures, but you can use it as an opportunity to disqualify other potential opponents.
Really?
So
How so?
It's pretty juicy. So like I said, the individuals that are required to sign those sheets are supposed to be registered Democrats. I'm running on a Democratic ticket. So after I file with the Board of Elections next week, my opponents will have an opportunity to review a copy of all of the signatures that I submitted, at which time they can review those signatures and match them up with the Democratic State Party registry. And it's kind of work that I've done. So I've volunteered for about 7 years now as a law committee member doing that. So they can use it as a tool, And look, the reality is this is an interesting device. It's I think, as tough as it's been because of COVID, not everybody wants to open their doors, touch your pens, do all of that. But it shows how serious you are about your candidacy, that you're making sure you get those numbers, that you're making sure you're exceeding those numbers so you stand tall. So we are looking forward to qualifying for it. So after next week, we'll learn who makes the ballot in all offices, even the mayoral race, the city comptroller race. So we are excited. And we are looking forward to it, and we've had great volunteers that have knocked on doors for us, so we appreciate that too.
So will you have an opportunity as well to review your opponent's ballots?
I will.
Magnifying glass, everything.
I will. And it's only right that anyone who wants to hold that office follows this process with the utmost integrity. So we're going to figure that out.
Absolutely. Yes. That's amazing and very, very exciting. To know that. And it's an amazing process. It's very new. There's a lot of little changes, but it's going to be great. So hold that thought. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So, Ms. Paul, why don't we talk about what I call the meat and potatoes? So people at home are watching and they're like, so why? Why Shirley Paul? Why should we choose you? And really, what do you plan to bring to the 46th District?
Thank you. That's such a great question, Lydia. Well, why Shirley Paul? I have a lot of experience working in government already. So when I say that, I mean I'm ready to start working on the first day of work. The city is facing a detrimental budget. I've had experience working on budgets for the state. I've drafted legislation. I've successfully passed legislation. I understand how to read it. And that's the big job of the city council member, is to legislate, which means draft laws, draft legislation that actually becomes laws. I have an understanding of the discretionary funds process. And above all, I have a love for people coupled with a reality of how we can get things done. So in my district in particular, we have a number of issues. On the top of my priorities is to make sure our housing situation is really good. We have a lot of residential homes, but we also have a lot of folks facing foreclosure. So we need to help them there. We have a lot of homeowners, so that means we also have a lot of tenants who have lost jobs in the pandemic. So we need support system to balance both sides. We also have seen a lot of businesses in my district have for lease signs. They're closing.
Yeah.
So small businesses need support. Education. I meet many parents, and the difficulty of remote learning is no access to Wi-Fi. So we need to end that digital divide. No tablets. Not everyone can afford that. So low-income students, low-income families need to have free Wi-Fi access. And not just them, but also my seniors. I have seniors that I've gone to their homes to, find the vaccine locator for them to make an appointment, because they don't have internet. Some of them don't know how to use it. Otherwise, some of them also, those are services they used to do at their adult day centers, at the senior centers. So people that are living on fixed incomes, that additional internet cost can break them. So they also need that support. Also in our district, which District 46 is actually Canarsie, Flatlands, Brigham Beach, Georgetown, Mill Basin, Mill Island, Marine Park, Garrettson Beach, and Sheepshead Bay. We were hit very, very badly during Superstorm Sandy. Some folks still haven't gone home yet. And we need to shore up our coastlines. The mayor did an amazing resiliency program that they put billions of dollars into, but my entire district was left out. So that means if there's another storm, we could be wiped out. So we need those supports, infrastructure. We live in what people call transportation desert. We have one train station pretty much in the district.
If you get to the L train or
right. So that means we need more buses on time, and then we need things to engage our young people. Just in this past week, last 10 days, there has been at least 3 shootings in my district, and 2 of them within 5 blocks of my home. So we need to engage our young folks, have deterrence programs, alternatives to incarceration. There's a lot that we can do to support the community and just make life a little easier. And above all, going into this budget, save jobs. We need folks to be able to keep their jobs so they could stay in their homes, take care of their families. So it's a lot going on, and I also think about the city as a whole. We need to expand access to quality health care. In my district, there's no hospital. So we need some mobile clinics that's focused on specialties before folks get to the last resort. By specialties, things like pulmonary, cardiologists, especially
True.
diseases that plague our community. As Black women, we are number one that can be faced with dying while having a child. Maternal mortality. So those are things we need to counteract while balancing this budget. The city's in a big hole. So we need folks that are ready, that understand that know where the cuts need to be and know where to find resources, including eliminating government waste and spending. So there's a lot to be done. That's why I believe that I'm ready for this job at this time. I have a lot of experience, as I said, but also I'm ready for the challenge.
And that's so great that you really outlined everything from what you're really bringing to the table in terms of professionally, I've done this, I've worked with this. So you're coming in and not saying that somebody who may not be an attorney isn't as qualified as well,
Right.
but there's going to be that learning curve.
That's right.
Because you already know how to, you speak the language of writing legislation. So you'll be able to know how to frame things to get it passed. If there's one piece or 2 pieces of legislation going into this, what do you think would be if they gave you a wish list and said, okay, here's a free card, you could pass any 2 things, what would be the 1 or 2 things that you would say immediately need firsthand have to go in?
Oh, that's a really good one. Definitely ending the digital divide. We have to prepare our
I don't even know why Wi-Fi is not free for everybody already.
It's not a luxury anymore. It's not,
it's
it's basic.
Such a necessity.
And when we say we want our young people to be ready for the jobs of tomorrow, how can we? When the jobs of tomorrow deal a lot with tech and things like that. Also coupled with that, when I went to high school, I went to John Dewey High School here in Brooklyn. We had apprenticeships. We had co-op, union-based apprenticeships, things like that, trades. We need to bring those back as alternatives to college. Not everyone wants to go to college, and those are great paying jobs. So definitely end the digital divide. What would be number 2? I would have to say that it would be to expand New York Cares, which is universal health care for New York City folks. But I would want to include for all people, irrespective of their immigration status. So we need to take care of our city residents.
And those are 2 fantastic ones. I think dealing with, that's such a big issue. And I've mentioned this before. I know people who personally try to just make their phone a hotspot so their kid can get some internet.
We all do it.
But that Google Classroom takes so much that little Wi-Fi can't, it doesn't always work. And I think it is genuinely a problem.
Right. And Lydia, as you say that, to think in a city like this, where our city has a $93 billion budget, not million, billion, larger than most, this is the 4th largest budget in this country. So the fact that we don't have internet, we don't have basic things, it's really a shame. We have food insecurity issues. That's a shame. This country is too large. Folks work too hard to not have the basics. And look, I'm not here to say give everyone everything for free, but help people so that they can sustain themselves. Put them on the training wheels and let them go. So I think we have a unique opportunity to really do something different. COVID has shed light on stuff that's too big to sweep under the rug. So we could do a lot.
We definitely could do a lot. And I think you are the person to help really make that happen.
Thank you.
With all that experience. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So Shirley, why don't we talk about funding? Because it's a reality. It's an important part, and it does take funds to do that.
Yes.
How do people get involved if they want to help you? And what I mean by funding, it doesn't just mean financial. Because great volunteers, you need people, you need support. So let's shed some light on that.
Yes, we do. And again, thank you. You are just setting me up so nicely. So we do need lots of help. And as Lydia said, it's not all about the money. At this point, thank God, we have raised a little over $48,000, but we also qualified for the city's matching funds program, where they matched every dollar we received from a New York City resident up to 175, 8 to 1. So we just received our full matching fund. So we do not need money at this time. We will need some more money later. However, we want folks to be able to knock on doors for us. You can volunteer for us in the comfort of your home. You can text bank. You can phone bank. So if you would like to help, can I share my website? If you would like to help, you can find me at shirleypaulny.com. That's my page, shirleypaulny.com. Scroll to the bottom in the volunteer section. You tell us exactly what you can do. Above all, you can always pray for me. That's the number one thing. And we look forward to that help. And come out, knock on some doors with us. Tell people about me in the 46. If you don't live there, I'm sure you know somebody who lives in Southern Brooklyn.
And it's so great to see that, that there's, you, like you said it best, somebody who's in that. You know somebody in Canarsie. You know somebody in Mill Basin. You know somebody living near Kings Plaza. There's that whole area is great. It's very, very mixed.
Yes.
Do you have any fear because of the mixture that you won't be as well received? Because there are so many different ethnic groups who go into, and that's a reality, being, the Caribbean side, we know you got that on lock. That won't be a problem. But the 46 goes pretty deep.
Yes, it does. That is a big thing. We do live in a very diverse district, and I'm very proud of it. I will say what's really exciting about this race at this particular time, that we've never had a person of color, a black woman, a black man, a woman, of course, I'm saying, represent us. So we would also be making history. So I
So
think
they've never had a person of color,
No.
period, in that district?
in a district that's overwhelmingly black and overwhelmingly female.
And that's why I asked that
So
question.
it's a perfect, it segued right in. So what I say about diversity is, as I hope that people are excited about diversity and they see it as an opportunity to bring something different to the table. And they can couple that with the fact that, look, I have great relationships. Like I said, with the folks that I've worked with, I keep in touch with them. I actually worked for our president when he was the senator of Delaware. So I have folks who might have more of a liking to other communities, but I've worked all across the spectrum. So I hope that they'll see past me being a woman, see me past me being black, and look at that as an asset rather than something negative, and be excited at what I can bring to the table. And I look forward to having women in my district, look forward to representing us in City Hall in the future, and someone of color.
For sure. And that's great. Let's really hope we can make some, because I know the community of color in the 46 definitely is present.
Yes.
Yet they've never had that representation.
Yes.
And there's always a little part of me that's the realist in me that'd be like, they still call the cards sometimes.
Right.
They still control to a certain degree, or they just aren't ready to have that.
That can be it. It's a combination of that. Sometimes it's just that, our communities sometimes don't know. The reality is, we do vote, but we don't tend to be the most politically astute. So that's part of why I think it's so important to have diversity, because now, I'm showing up in spaces where other people might not, and engaging folks, talking about politics, having younger people involved, having women involved. So I think that's encouraging. So I look at it like, I'm actually excited about that. I'm excited to break that mold. I happen to know the current member. I've worked with him too. So I'm looking forward to that. That's not stopping it. I welcome all of that.
Perfect. And if people at home have any questions or comments, how do they get in contact? Is there an email address they could send anything to?
Sure. Don't forget the website, ShirleyPaulNY.com. Otherwise, you can email me at paul4nyc@gmail.com. I have an Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Instagram and Twitter is Shirley Paul NYC. Facebook is Shirley Paul. I also have a page, Shirley Paul for City Council. If you just put in Shirley Paul, you'll find me. I'm not hiding.
That's great. And it truly is great to know that there's somebody who wants the position, qualified for the position, knows the people from the area. I mean, can't really ask for better, but
right.
It's like when you think about it, you're checking a lot of boxes there, so
Right.
it's looking pretty good. Any final words that you really want the Beyond Focus family? Maybe you want to say something to our Creole family. You could also.
Oh, of course. Sak pase fami Haitian yo m konen ap koute nou. Ta souhaite nou supporte m an jen si Dieu ve 22 jen pou nou vote pou mwen. Si nou konon moun ki ete nan zon nan, di yo pou yo suiv mwen, Shirley Paul. To the rest of my family listening, I want you to be engaged, whether you live in the 46 this year in New York City. We're getting a new mayor, new comptroller, new borough president all throughout the city. We're getting new council members. So I want you to be engaged. Early voting starts on June 12th through the 20th. The primary day is June 22nd. And above all, this year we have something new at the polls called ranked choice voting. So when you go to vote for me, if you live in the 46, you'll also have an opportunity to rank other candidates. You can rank up to 5 of us. So I just want you to get familiar with what that might mean. So that means you should be a little more engaged to know who's running. But As for anyone that can support me, whether you want to volunteer, you don't have to live in my district to volunteer for me. I want you to tell anyone about me, follow me online, and just stick with me. I'm asking for your support, but you won't be disappointed. I promise you that. But this is a relationship, so you got to help me too. Help me get there, and then we can do some great things together. And I look forward to your support. And I thank you this evening for having me here and allowing me to share some of my platform.
This has been amazing. I truly am excited. I think you're doing some fantastic work, and we're looking forward to it. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. I'm your host, Lydia Patel. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back again next week. Same time, same place. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us.
Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you.